all records.
Did he have Dr. Phil do it on TV?
I don't really care whether Dr. Phil's there or not. My point is, the greatest deporter of all, the man who earned the moniker of deporter-in-chief in Mexico, was actually a Democrat president, Barack Obama. And I don't remember people like you screaming about how inhumane it all was when that was going on. In fact, most liberals I know have no idea, A, that he deported 3 million people, or B, that he was the deporter-in-chief.
Why? Piers Morgan completely schools this wacko JoJo from Jers, who wants to sit here and cry and complain about all the deportations going on of illegal immigrants. Typical lefty lunatic stuff from this woman. Classic lefty lunatic. Let's see how this goes down on Piers Morgan Uncensored.
Exciting to have you. I don't think you feel he's quite on the roll in the euphoric way that Geraldo does. Am I right in picking up the rather more negative vibes?
Well, thank you for having me on. And yeah, no, you're definitely picking up what I'm laying down. But I wanted to start with, Piers, your comment about Donald Trump's achievement in installing a Diet Coke button in the Resolute desk, because I'm old-fashioned, I guess, and my barometer for achievement is maybe not leaving office, saddling our economy with the third largest debt relative to the size of our economy of any president in our history. But I mean, you know, maybe you measure success differently. And I just wanted to also mention Geraldo. Yeah, you're right about it being exciting. Someone mentioned something about this being exciting, but I'm old enough to know and grew up in the tri-state area that sometimes exciting things also yield nothing, like, you know, a vault being opened on live TV or something like that, where you can get a lot of excitement and drum it up. And then ultimately, it reveals nothing. I mean, I'm just old enough to remember that. Oh, look, Geraldo, all due respect, I did grow up with you on TV, and everyone remembers that sort of infamously, well, I don't know how to, I won't say it was a failure, but let's just say infamous event. But you mentioned that he has a mandate, and I wanted to... television. Oh, look, yeah, I mean, we watched it, right? It was amazing. It's now become a punchline and a running joke, and all due respect, you know, we all build our careers the way we do. But you mentioned that he has a mandate, and I wanted to touch on that because he did not win the majority of the popular vote. He has a plurality of the popular vote. There are more people in this country who didn't vote for him than did. So none of that is a mandate by any stretch of the imagination.
Hang on. Putting aside your very quick, sly whack at Geraldo, who's far too gentlemanly, I'm sure, to respond.
Whack at Geraldo.
But putting that aside, actually, Trump does have an undeniable, incredible mandate. He won the Electoral College, the popular vote, the White House, the Senate, and the House of Representatives. It is what is called in politics a clean sweep. And you on the left, with all due respect...
He's also lost all of those things. The first one to ever do that, Piers. He's also lost all of those things. The first one to ever do that.
But at some point, I think in the process of Democrats trying to somehow regain some credibility, you are going to have to just accept you've got a complete shellacking. You're just going to have to. And then you're going to have to work out how you're going to somehow get back at Trump in a way that doesn't involve just endless screaming. As we're speaking, Selena Gomez, right? I'm going to play you a clip. This is exactly what I'm talking about the kind of ludicrous hysteria that the left seem to specialize in, fueled by liberal celebrities, that they think works for the public, but actually makes the public laugh at them. Selena Gomez has decided that the correct response to, so far, a bunch of illegal immigrant criminals, including some despicable people, by the way, with despicable crimes, have been deported, that this is the correct response. Let's take a look.
I just wanted to say that I'm so sorry. All my people are getting attacked. The children. I don't understand. I'm so sorry. I wish I could do something, but I can't. I don't know what to do. I'll try everything.
God, that was so pathetic. Can someone tell, let's all other touch these Hollywood stars. Can someone tell Selena Gomez it is not 2016 anymore? That video might have worked then. It might have. I mean, us on the right would still be laughing at her. But you know what? Mainstream people, normies or whatever, they might look at that and be like, oh my God, Selena really cares. But in 2025, Everyone can see right through you now. I wish there was something I could do. There are things that she could do, by the way, if she really cared. But no, she's wants to virtue signal, and that's it. Really lame, really pathetic. I'm glad everyone's laughing at her.
Now, there's a lot to unpack there, but you should know that she almost immediately deleted it because the instant reaction from Americans was to absolutely ridicule this absurdly narcissistic response from somebody trying to make this all about her, weeping for people, in some cases I've seen, rapists and murderers. What is she crying about?
In some cases, like right here in my state, it was a U.S. citizen and veteran, Piers, that was also detained without a warrant at his place of work. So, I mean, if you want to talk about the rapists and criminals that are being detained, but you're just going to not refer to those situations as well, I mean, we're not really painting a full picture. And I want to just stop really quickly on the emotion that she expressed there. We are traumatizing our society as we speak. We are traumatizing our children. There are kids in my town where I live. My kids are almost 12 and 15 years old, and they ask me every day. My friends want to know when their parents are going to be taken, and will they have to go too? And if they don't go, who will take care of them? There was a video that went around my town last night that children here thought was real of ICE coming and taking kids out of their homes.
Let me ask you. Let me ask you.
Give me things that didn't happen for 100, Alex. These libs always make up their stories. My kids ask me every day about so-and-so. No, they don't, dude. They don't. Stop saying that. I got kids too. My kids don't give a shit. They don't. They don't give a damn. And if they do care, it's because you, as their mother, are probably putting these ideas into their head.
Jojo, let me ask you. So do you believe then that it is entirely correct and proper that illegal immigrants who've entered the country illegally and are then criminals who've broken the law, that they should be allowed to stay? And what about the million people who've already been processed for deportation under the Biden administration but weren't actually deported? Would you keep them as well? In other words, for you, is there no limit to what people can do? They can come in illegally, they can break the law with impunity, they can be processed for deportation, but still you want to keep them in America. Well, what are you saying? It's important to clarify it.
Well, I never said that, but I never said that at all. In fact, I will say that, first of all, my father was an immigrant who came here lawfully from Lebanon, worked for 50 years for the department.
Oh, God, shut up. Why do these people always have to bring up their well, my father was an immigrant. My great-grandfather was an immigrant. My blah, blah, blah is an immigrant. We don't fucking care. Cut it out with that stuff. Like, yes, we could all trace our lineages back to people coming from outside the country. Unless you're a pure Native American, unless you're 100% Native American, everyone who is not 100% Native American could sit here and trace back our lineage to another country. Oh, by the way, I gotta save this. This is a perfect screenshot right here.
Defense, believed in a shining city on a hill. I would also say that if we're going to have that converse, I believe that, by the way, there's much reform to be made to the immigration process in this country. If I were an expert on that, I'd have a very different job. I'm not. I will say that it needs to be done and needs to be addressed. But if we're going to have the conversation about consequences and rule of law, then we need to have that conversation about somebody sitting on your panel right now who was a January 6th insurrectionist and was pardoned for his crimes. So if you're going to thread the needle on what is acceptable in terms of allowing crime and what is not acceptable in terms of allowing crime or forgivable in terms of allowing crime because of the color of someone's skin or the status of their citizenship, then I don't think this is a conversation about the rule of law at all.
Okay, but just to be clear, because you haven't answered the question, would you let illegal immigrants who break the law
Do I think that people should be able to? No, I don't. I don't think anyone should be able to break the law in this country and have no consequences for it. I do think that there are other ways to handle immigration rather than rounding people up in their elementary schools or going to their places of work or showing up at the groves where they're picking the citrus fruit that none of us will pick. And so did that whole thing.
Why? And lefties. I'm telling. Oh, that's another good screen grab right there. Lefties, I got news for you. Your argument about, oh, well, who's going to pick the crops and stuff, that makes you look terrible because it shows that all you care about is using them for cheap labor. This would be like back in the slavery days when people are like, well, let's abolish slavery. And other people will be like, yeah, but who's going to pick our cotton for us? What's going to happen with our free labor? There are a lot of people in this country that are looking for jobs. We don't need to import people just to pick our crops for us. Haven't these people learned from the Kelly Osbourne thing? Remember the whole, And remember, who's going to clean your toilets, Trump? Where even the rest of the girls on The View were like, ugh, don't say that, shut up. And Kelly Osbourne was like, well, you know what I mean. Haven't they learned from that? Stop it with that argument about who is going to pick our crops. It makes you look bad.
We don't even have the citrus crops we used to have because no one will pick it. Do I think that they should be able to commit crimes willy-nilly? No, I don't think anybody in this country should be able to do that. But do I think dehumanizing them by putting it on TV with Dr. effing Phil is the way to do it? No. We've seen this playbook before, Piers. Everyone on this panel knows we've seen this playbook before. This is how you dehumanize people so that you can get clear the path towards atrocity. Okay, and I'm not on board with that.
Let me ask you my favorite. All right, before I go to Brandon to respond, do you know my favorite question for my liberal friends is who was the biggest deporter of them all? Who deported more illegal immigrants than any president in history, pro rata, per year?
You're going to say Barack Obama, right? You're going to say Barack Obama.
Well, yeah, I'm not saying it for any reason other than it is Barack Obama. He deported over 3 million illegal immigrants in 8 years.
Did he have Dr. Phil do it on TV?
I don't really care whether Dr. Phil's there or not. My point is the greatest deporter of all, the man who earned the moniker of deporter in chief in Mexico, was actually a Democrat president, Barack Obama. And I don't remember people like you screaming about how inhumane it all was when that was going on. In fact, most liberals I know have no idea, A, that he deported 3 million people, or B, that he was the deporter in chief.
Why?
Anyway,
because he didn't turn it into a reality show. He was a Democrat. He basically wasn't designed to dehumanize them. Because he didn't make it into a prop and cops and reality TV. It wasn't the Hunger Games or Running Man. That's why. You don't think this is dehumanizing them, Piers? Do you support that? Let me ask you a question, Piers. Do you support them being dehumanized?
I think when you try and say that nobody... I think when you... No, I don't agree with anyone being dehumanized, but I do agree with illegal immigrants.
That's what's happening, is it not?
In any country being thrown out, yeah. Because, by the way, I have to go through a very vigorous process. Well, unfortunately for you, I ask the questions. But my point is that people like me who want to work in America or live in America have to go through a very laborious legal process. Everyone knows that. And when we ultimately get our visas, we're called illegal aliens. So, when it comes to dehumanizing, you can sort the language out on that to start with. Let me go to Brandon. Brandon.
Well, to answer her question, no. I don't think this being done on TV by Dr. Phil, is that what she's talking about? Because Dr. Phil is recording this? No, I don't think it's dehumanizing. I'm sorry. Doesn't make it any less human for it to be televised. So no, she don't give a damn. And also too, that's the only excuse she could find to justify Obama's thing. Her whole thing is them being deported. Well, Obama deported more people than ever. And so what does she have to say about that? Did she say that's wrong too? Did she say Barack Obama bad? Of course not. Of course not, because she doesn't really care. The only thing that she cares about is Orange Man Bad doing it? Oh, Orange Man Bad is doing it or did do it? Well, then it is bad because Orange Man is bad. That's the only thing that this wacko lunatic right here, what's her name so I know not to follow her on anything? Jojo from Joanne Carducci. She's a YouTuber, huh? Huh. Well, maybe I will follow her for potential content for my channel. But my God, come up with better arguments, woman. It's 2025. Good job here by Piers Morgan owning this woman. What'd you guys think about what she had to say and what this clip? Sound off in the comment section below. Subscribe to my channel if you enjoyed today's clip. And if you did enjoy today's clip, I got more Piers Morgan for you to click away and enjoy.